Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Two Shot Tuesday. It's Barry Nixon, along a man who truly knows everything there is to know about life. Jay, I've
Really?
learned so much from you. It's incredible. There are men out there, but then there's the man, and that's you. Thanks for making time to be with me on another week, and our audience certainly appreciates it.
You know, Barry, I would argue if I could, but that intro just was so spot on that I think I like to think I am the man, although in many ways I
You
haven't
are.
grown up. So I'm quite the boy when it comes to my reading habits, my TV habits. A lot
Uh-huh.
of my habits, my eating habits tend to be,
Some of your dietary choices could be, questioned, but
yeah.
that's not for mere mortals to question. Anyway, it's good to see you, Jay. We have an absolutely jam-packed show, but before we dive in head first,
hmm
I believe you and I will be doing a shot together, maybe two.
I think so. I think we're going to do
Yeah.
that. I'm going to
Okay.
start with a very
Please.
manly shot because, that's one thing. Only you have to be over a certain age to legally drink alcohol. And so tonight
Uh-huh.
I will be consuming Bushmills Black Bush, one of my two
Oh,
faves that I always keep on offer. What have you got?
amazing. Amazing. I love the Bushmills Black Bush. I haven't had it in a while. I have another Bushmills product, the 12 year.
Nice.
Equally delicious.
Yeah.
To you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh. Ooh, it went up into my sinuses in a good way.
Yes.
In a good way.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't
Barry.
know, from that face, it almost looks like you did a somersault in a
Whew.
pool. You know that move? And then the water kind of goes up as you're kind of
Yeah.
going under?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I've felt that. I've been in there. I was looking at the LCBO when I was there last because I
yeah,
saw the 12 year. At my
yeah.
LCBO, it's behind lock and key. And so I never ask for it because I see it and I go, oh, that's the one Barry gets all the time. He likes it. But at my LCBO, it is under like glass with another aged one. I'm not sure if it's a 10 year or anything, but it's behind lock and key and I can't be bothered to bother people to get it for me. What do you think about
Well, that's
that?
a shame. They should be falling over themselves to
You'd
open that
think.
cabinet for you, Jay. That's surprising it's behind lock and key. Mine is just on the open shelf.
Really? That's
Yeah,
wow. I've never seen it kind of just out there. I've seen
yeah.
it either not anywhere or at mine. It's behind lock and key. I guess there's a lot of ne'er do wells looking to get their hands on the 12 year. It's a good year for criminals.
I guess so. But I'm wondering is maybe you were seeing something like an 18 or because usually
Nope,
they lock
12.
up the stuff that's really it's a
I
12.
checked it, and
Okay.
it's like a
Okay.
$64 bottle. It's not the cheapest bottle,
Yeah.
the 12 year. Yeah, like the Blackbush is like a 50 something dollar bottle, 55 maybe.
Yeah.
This one's a step up, and then there's one next to it, which I bet you is the 18, and they keep them together.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's how
I
I
would have
know.
thought 64 bucks, while expensive and certainly not,
Good
cheap.
quality. Yeah,
You wouldn't think that would have to be locked up.
I,
That's
it's not that big a step up. I know from the Black Bush.
no.
Like that's right
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Why are you locking up the 12 year? And really, if somebody's stealing whiskey, they're going to just steal whatever they can get their hands on anyway. You're thinking it's mostly to be consumed. I guess it could be resold, but you know,
Sure.
this, yeah, free the 12 year. I say that's what I say. LCBO at DuPont near Spadina, free the 12 year, please.
Dude, let's get that trending on X.
Okay,
Free
but I
the
will.
12 year. I love it.
Yeah, and I will say they do have ample Black Bush, Black Barrel, sorry, Jameson Black Barrel as well. So
Mm.
that I'm happy about. They've got several facings of that, so nothing to complain
Well,
there.
that is good. That's something I would love to see returning to my LCBO. It's so inconsistent. I really don't
Yeah,
understand who does the ordering.
I don't either.
Anyway,
Barry, you've been very vocal in the last several episodes as you've taken us through World Cup fever. I'm wondering what you've
yeah,
got for us today to talk to, and I'll do my best to keep up. And really, I haven't been
sure.
carrying my fair share of the load. I want to be able to do that in this episode. Hence, a little bit of a chat about how we lock up our booze.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Well, that's good. I can certainly update you at the time of this recording. You might notice that I'm wearing an England shirt.
hmm
England has made it through to the quarterfinal, and they will be facing the Norwegians this Saturday at the time of this recording, so just a few days away. And it's do or die, as all these matches are now. They're all one and done eliminations. But I don't remember ever England and Norway facing off, and if they have, I don't think it was ever this deep in the tournament. So it's super exciting, and let's go England, let's go Lions, and hopefully they can come through and move on. It would be super exciting
Yeah,
if they could.
I've got to
Yeah.
tell you, I've been watching as well. I'm getting caught up in the fever now ever since the Canada
Good.
game, the most recent Canada game where they lost. And then I watched, I think
Yeah.
it
To
was,
Morocco. That was
yeah, France and Mexico. Basically, I watched all the host countries get put out. Was it France and Mexico? Yeah.
France is not a host, but the
Or so,
USA and
but
Mexico.
Mexico
Yeah,
is. So that's what I meant. And Mexico lost. So France beat
they
Mexico,
did.
Canada got beat, and then, of course, the US just got beat. So all of the host countries are now out of this tournament.
That's right. Actually, it was actually, just to correct you quickly, it was England that defeated Mexico in Mexico
England.
City to send them home. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
beautiful. An absolute
That,
stunner of a game. It was just incredible.
yeah, that stadium was incredible. Like that
Yeah,
stadium in Mexico was like it kind of puts BMO Field a bit to shame, but that thing's built, I think, for soccer, right? The Mexico.
it's purpose built for soccer. They call it
Yeah.
the Azteca, and it's a legendary facility that has probably, I don't know, like 90, maybe 80,000 seats. Like, it's enormous,
Yeah.
and apparently it gets super super loud.
I
So
could see 'cause that's a lot
yeah,
of people excited about
absolutely.
the same thing. So yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
So what okay, have you got a pick then? I know England is the
of
jersey you're
course.
wearing, so that would be your
Yes.
pick. Okay.
That is my pick. I truly hope that they can make it past the Norwegians, and then who's to say who will be next? But this has been one heck of a tournament, Jay. Everyone will always remember the 26 tournament, not just because it was in our own backyard. What am I saying? Of course, it's
That's
because it
why.
was in our own
Yeah.
backyard. Everyone's going to remember the 26 tournament, but there's been so many surprises, so many upsets. It's just been so entertaining. Today, at the time of this recording, the Argentinians were down 2-0 in their must-win situation against the Egyptians, and they came back and won 3-2. Like,
Wow.
nobody's out of this, out of any of these matches, it seems, even with just like a handful of minutes left at the end of the match.
Nice.
So Argentina is through at the time of this recording.
Executive producer Aldo Roma looked up a stat and it was who has won the most World Cups. Can you tell me, Barry, who has won the most World Cups?
I believe it's Brazil with five of them.
You're correct. I thought it was 4, but
Yeah.
it's definitely Brazil. They're of course out. They were put out of the tournament.
Thank goodness.
I know this. Look, I'm talking sports with
They
you.
are dangerous. Yeah, this is
Dangerous.
good.
Yeah. So they were like number one. And then he made a separate comment going, it's amazing. You hear a lot of these teams with a lot of bluster that have actually never won the World Cup. But there's a number of teams that are like, they're talking like they've won it. They're acting like they've won it, but they've never won it yet. So they're thirsty for their first World Cup. And they're, not humble.
Out of the 100 years almost of this tournament existing, only 8 countries have won the World Cup, which is incredible.
Right.
Only
'cause
8
every
countries.
4 years. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay. So it'd be 40 tournaments, I guess, in 100 years.
Well, almost 100. It'll be 100 in 2030. But regardless, only 8 nations have won it. And like you said, there's been many other teams competing in it. They talk a big game. Maybe some of them have won European championships, CONCACAF, or tournaments in South America.
It's not the world.
But the World Cup is the World Cup. So
It is the. You know what? Nobody has said it.
World Cup.
Nobody said it better than you. The World Cup
Thank you.
is the World Cup, and I think on
It
that
truly is.
we should do our second shot.
Let's do it.
All right. You know what I'm drinking? The Black Bush, and you?
I'm sticking with what's working, Jay, and that's the Bushmills 12 year. Behind lock and key. Here's to you.
Cheers.
Now, you sent me an interesting text earlier today on a new item that has changed your life almost from the outset.
Yeah.
From the unboxing to this moment, your life is different. Tell us how.
Barry, I always read at night, as you know, and a lot of that is comics, and I read before I go to bed. And so I'm always reading on my iPad. And it's comfortable and it's nice, but I have, as you know, behind me, you can see physical copies of giant omnibuses and things that I buy and like to have in my collection. But I don't always, I'm reading at night, so I don't get a chance to always read these physical books that I love so much. Well, suddenly I was reading in the chair in the living room and I turned on the light over me and it was very bright. And I was like, oh, this is too bright. And then I thought, this must exist. And I went to Amazon, which is where you always go when you're not sure if something exists because they will have it.
Yeah.
And it was an on-book clipped reading light. You clip it on the back of your book. It has to have a heavy enough spine. It can't be like a loose comic. I can't do that. It's got a little wire, and then it's got the light and like 8 LED settings, dimness for days. It now charges up with a regular charger, kind of like a phone would do. And I'm reading in bed. As I said to you, it turns every physical book into an iPad, basically, because I can now read. I'm flipping pages. It's not disturbing executive producer Aldo Roma, who's right next to me. And I took it on its maiden voyage last night. And I have to tell you, I really enjoyed this. It's so lightweight, you can't even feel it on this book. It does not add really any weight at all. Maybe not even an ounce to this book.
Wow.
So I'm
Okay.
loving this. So I'm going to be able to now alternate between iPads and physical books. And as you know, I don't sleep so good. So I'm also trying it because I know screens are kind of bad for you at night. So I'm kind of going to go on
Yes.
a little quest and see if it works, where maybe post 7 p.m. onwards, I'm going to go to the physical book and just, check in on my phone if I need to, but go to the
Right.
physical book and read off the physical book. So this will be a journey that our listeners and our viewers and you can come on with me as I see if it helps improve my sleep.
Right. Well,
But I'm excited.
that's a very good point that screens have been linked to some sleep interruptions, especially
Yeah.
before bed. So this is a kind of a cool experiment. What was the first book that you took to bed last night and watched or read rather?
Yeah.
What was it?
Oh my God. Barry, this is a story in and of itself, but
All right, let's go.
it's called X-Men Elsewhen. And it is by a creator
Okay.
named John Byrne, who is a legendary
Right.
comic book creator. He had a legendary run on the X-Men, and this is in the 70s. He left the book in like 79, 80 due to disagreements with the writer. And he went off and he did a big run on the Fantastic Four. Anyway, during
Mhm.
the pandemic, he started doing fan fiction where he would post one page on his website of just penciled pages of this is what I would do if I had continued my run on the X-Men. And he posted one page every day or so for a
Wow.
couple of years for nothing. He paid nothing, although he has sold the pages and made a lot of money, I've heard, like through selling original artwork. So he's not starving.
Sure.
But it was something
Yeah.
that he did for a couple of years. And so just this past year, they decided they were going to ink it, color it. So they got an inker over his pencils, they colored it, and they bound it. There's the empty spine because I take it out of the slipcover. It's behind me. And so they're now publishing it in 3 volumes of John Byrne's X-Men Elsewhen. And this is if he would have continued. Now, he stopped doing that too. So I know it's going to end on a cliffhanger. And he's already said, when we publish the 3rd volume, I don't feel like doing anymore. So I'm just going to write out what the rest of the story would have been. I'm going to tell you how it would have ended. And that's great because this guy he got me into really collecting comics with his Superman run in 1986, The Man of Steel, which I will be getting an absolute edition when it comes available later this summer, and you'll be the first to see it.
Thank
Anyway,
goodness.
John Byrne's X-Men Elsewhen is an alternate reality of how the X-Men would have gone had he continued on the book and taken over
Wow.
the writing chores. So that was I just got it about a week ago, and I was excited to read it, and I started reading it last night. And it's great. It's
Very
just a
cool.
lot of fun, classic comic book stuff, classic comic book art, not a complicated story, and really kind of a cool story of how he, at a time when he just felt like doing stuff, like he's older now, he's in his 80s. So he just started putting out these pages in rough pencils. And people over the years have kind of grabbed the pages and inked them and collected them themselves. So Marvel decided, hey, let's make some money out of this. And they've put them together in a book and approved this publication.
So he's not only an artist but a writer as well.
Well, yeah, he wrote and drew the Fantastic Four for like a number of years. He wrote and drew Superman in 1986. He relaunched Superman, so a lot of the elements of Superman that we know today, he came up with or was a co-creator in, like Lex Luthor being a businessman. As we saw in the latest Superman movie, and has been that way since the 90s. He got a writer named Marv Wolfman came up with that. They worked together on this. Superman's parents not being dead, but being alive, like stuff like that were all stuff that he came up with as part of his run. And it was that Superman comic, Superman number 7 that I saw at the newsstand. And I was like, how can Superman only be at issue number 7? And then I bought that and I realized that he relaunched it. And anyway, he's done lots of other stuff, big runs on Wonder Woman, The New Gods, all kinds of characters you have no idea of. Like your eyes are like super glossed over now, as they should be, but he is a legendary creator. Bit of an attitude, a lot of a chip on his shoulder and a lot of interviews he does, but he was so popular in the 70s and 80s especially that he could basically say and do anything he wanted because he was bringing in a lot of money for Marvel and DC.
Where does this chip on his shoulder come from, do you think?
He's just,
For someone so successful.
Well, that's it. I think, sometimes when you're driven to success, you're driven to, I don't know about a chip on his shoulder, very strong opinions, definitely bought into the hype of him being, because, when you're the number one star, like think of an athlete, when you're the number one star, you're driving, you're putting the bums in seats, you're making things happen for a giant company. And then that starts to turn, you're a little bit past your prime, tastes change. It's hard to kind of let that go. Like he's a competitor, I would say. He's probably a competitor. Yeah.
That's a good That's a good analogy. And yeah, I guess at that level, you're probably drinking your own Kool-Aid on how
Yeah,
good you are, and you're surrounded by people telling you that all day long.
that's right. And you're seeing your other people come up. Like there were other comic book creators at that time that were like getting attention. And so you're always trying to kind of one up each other. Yeah, it was a big time. And the 90s was a big time of that. We'll talk about this another time, but there's like whole other sets of creators of different eras that come up. Like there's a podcast I listened to by a creator named Rob Liefeld. He's a huge fan of John Byrne, collects his original art. This guy, so Rob Liefeld created Deadpool and a bunch of, that's his real big claim to fame, but he's had a lot of success. He loves John Byrne's art, loves it. But John Byrne hacks on him because he was one of the creators of the 90s. John Byrne was one of the 70s and 80s. So the 90s creators kind of supplanted them as being the superstars. And so
Right.
that's where some of this chip on the shoulder, he's just like, there's a lot of fights. So John Byrne has taken shots at him, but Rob Liefeld can separate the art and the kind of personality. And he owns a lot of this kind of original art, I should say. Anyway, it's kind of, and Rob Liefeld on his own is also a very polarizing creator. He also will talk up a tough game and remind everyone that he created Deadpool. And he'll say, I'll do it because nobody else is going to. So I have to hype it up. And he also gets royalties for when they license out Deadpool. So it's in his best interest to keep Deadpool as a popular character.
Right. Well, I think Ryan Reynolds is certainly helping in that regard. I don't think he has to worry so much about that character being relevant or going away anytime soon. He's definitely been brought to the forefront.
Yeah, exactly.
That's very cool. I can imagine you in an alternate universe working as a comic book writer / illustrator. I mean, I think that in an alternate universe, you would be right at home in that environment.
Yeah, I used to. Well, when I was a kid, I used to write and draw my own comics. They're in my basement. I'll show you next time you're at the mini mansion. I'll show you some of the classic from the.
Yes.
From JR Comics.
How is this just being revealed now?
You didn't know this? My mom would know this. Yeah, Millie knows this. There was I've actually those are one of the few things I've kept, which is like collections of comics that I created as a kid. There are some titles you might recognize, like The Amazing Spider Kid, The Incredible Kid, Super Kid. There were a lot of characters that were
a theme here.
Yeah, similar to characters you might think you know, but they're not exactly that. You don't. The Amazing Spider Kid just happens to look like Spider-Man and have similar adventures. They fought a lot of classmates that I went to school with. My classmates would be like, "Draw me in your comic," so they would kind of fight.
Wow,
yeah, that was kind of a thing. You didn't know
I definitely want to see this, and we should have Millie on the show too. I cannot believe that this is just being unearthed today on episode 299.
I was saving it for this. Yeah, I was saving it.
All right, before we go, just really quick, Jay, I have a quick 4K corner for you, and I did preview this disc, even though you and I do have a plan to sit down together and watch it, which I am happy to do, because this movie, I'm here to tell you right now,
I think I know it. Beastmaster. Yes.
The Beastmaster. After seeing it, too, I feel like I understand you better. Why? Because this lead character, Dar, he doesn't wear a shirt the entire movie.
Mark Singer.
In fact, there's only one scene where he pops on like a tarp just to like be disguised as a commoner. It itches his skin so badly, it's only on him for about 20 seconds. And then he's back to being the buff, sweaty guy. So you as a young man, figuring out who you are, I can completely get the appeal of the Beastmaster for you. I was like, okay, I think I understand Jay more. This guy, obviously he's working out. He's doing what he needs to do. And it's just hilarious that no matter what scene, what circumstance, this guy is just oiled up and ready to go.
Yeah, I think everybody goes a little gay for Beastmaster. That's just how it is. That's just how things go. Exactly.
Yeah, totally.
And it's Mark Singer, am I right? From the show V.
That's right.
Yeah. And I remember when I first watched it, like as not a child, I was like, oh my God, Mark Singer. Mark Singer's really well put together. But
Yes. Yeah. Good for him.
Good for him in those days. He was holding it together. Yeah. The Beastmaster. Yeah.
The Beastmaster, also with Rip Torn as the main baddie, the main heavy in the movie, along with some like really disfigured witches that he has that have fantastic like supermodel bodies, but their faces look like they're wearing ham sandwiches on their face. It's terrible. But anyway, the movie holds up, Jay, and you'll love the runtime. It's very lean, so I look forward to revisiting it with you. I thought it was good. It held my attention the entire time. I thought it clipped along nicely, and the animals in there, of course, you got the black tiger, you got the eagle.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Amazing.
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you for 4K Corner. That will be our next watch at the mini mansion when we get together.
Absolutely.
Speaking of lean
Yeah.
runtimes, we're running out of our time. And next week, we got a
Well
huge
done.
episode, 300
Yeah.
episodes, 600
Whew.
shots are going to be having been consumed. We're looking forward to it. Join us for an extra special episode next week. You don't want to miss it. He's Barry Nixon. I'm Jason Riley. We will see you next week. Have a great one.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Two Shot Tuesday. The show is produced by Barry and I and edited by me. If you have yet to rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, please take a second to do so now. It helps us grow, and it helps new audiences to find the show. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Two Shot Tuesday, and on Twitter at Two Shot Tuesday Podcast. Stop by, give us a follow, leave us a comment, and share your favorite episodes. If you have a question you'd like featured on the show, you can send us a text at 647-486-4848. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week.